Wir sind bei Blizzard für Heroes of the Storm und wir werden jetzt gleich mal einen der Entwickler befragen. Es gab ja in letzter Zeit einige Veränderungen in der Alpha, was der Hintergrund dafür war und was uns als nächstes noch erwarten wird. I want to start off with the artifact system. You implemented it in the Alpha and the feedback was not very great, and then it's already gone again. What was the decision making behind that, and how does that feel kicking that out after you have implemented it right away? Is that par for the course or not very nice for a developer?
That's pretty much Tech Alpha being Tech Alpha. So this is the earliest we've ever brought players into one of our games in development. We usually do changes like that behind closed doors. We usually try something and have it work or not work, and no one sees what that process was. So I think the artifact system was a clear example of that in the alpha. I think it's actually one of the advantages of what we have making this game is that we are bringing it out into players as early as possible. We're getting feedback really early. We had our own concerns about the artifact system. When we got it in the game and we tested it, we played it with players, we heard their feedback along with our own once we were experiencing it. We all kind of came to the same conclusion, which is we know our goals are good, the way we're doing this isn't right, and we were very quick to remove it once we made that determination. And I think that's kind of the beauty of this game, is that it's going to be in constant evolution across both Tech Alpha, Beta, and beyond. We're really trying to make a game that we want to play and that players want to play, and the feedback across the board is going to be really important to us in that process.
Okay, so it's just a normal process, but people are more involved in it so they can see how it works.
Right, yeah. Usually we're away working many years on a game where no one sees it, and we do things like that all the time, where we put something in, we try it, and we go, no, not this time, no, and we pull it out. I mean, it's kind of a normal part of the development process for us, and yeah, that's Artifacts.
Done.
So Blizzard created the MOBA genre when it was first map, Dawn of the Ancients, for the Warcraft. And now, many times, many years danach, yeah, well, then you come back to this genre. But I know that Blizzard don't like when journalists call Heroes of the Storm MOBA. It's Hero Brawler, yes? But what's the principal difference between Hero Brawler and MOBA?
Sure. So right, you mentioned that this whole genre kind of came out of Blizzard players making custom maps in StarCraft and Warcraft 3. I think when we came to kind of make our own take on it, we started kind of dissecting it and looking at the pieces that we thought were critical to it being fun, and then the pieces that we didn't think were that critical, we slowly started peeling away. And so as we dissected that and kind of broke apart what we thought made the game, things like we got rid of individual player level in favor of team leveling, we got rid of the item shop in favor of per hero talent trees that we can customize and make totally unique per hero. As we've made those changes, each one of them kind of led us to say, this isn't really the same thing. Like, some of the core components, the foundation is similar, but we're really trying to go in a different direction with it. Everything from, instead of having one dominant map, we have multiple battlegrounds. We have 5 of them in the game right now. Our intention is to continue adding more and more on with really unique objectives that change the gameplay. So not only are the heroes really unique, but the battlegrounds are unique, and the way the two interact together create a unique gameplay experience. So I think everything we're doing, we're kind of trying to break out of the mold a bit and do our own thing with it, and we want people kind of manage people's expectations that this isn't the standard thing that you're used to. We're trying to do something different, and that's very intentional, and we wanted people to try to embrace that instead of saying, wait, you're changing it. We're like, yeah, we're changing it. That's the whole point.
Okay, going over to the map side, because you mentioned it just now, they really feel like they have a lot of tactical depth, and it's even like the players don't have yet realized all the possibilities there. Is it with the background in StarCraft and Warcraft 3 that you went into designing these maps, and have you taken metrics from the esports scene into designing these maps, so you know already maybe particular map layouts work well in esports or don't work well? Is this something you have had in mind from the beginning, or was it something you came about along when you developed and saw, well, maybe we shouldn't do another MOBA where everybody just smashes each other, and maybe it turns out 20 minutes or so, and in the end you went for a more tactical game? Was turn-based on the table, was it not, or something like that?
Yeah, no, turn-based wasn't on the table, but definitely we knew that from our lessons that we learned making StarCraft and Warcraft 3, these are games with multiple maps that are in a rotation pool in seasons, and that players really seem to embrace in those games when we added and removed maps, and each map kind of added a whole new kind of layer to the depth and strategy. So we definitely approached this saying, hey, we want to make multiple battlegrounds. When we first made that decision, we weren't sure that people would like that. We'd seen some of the other games in the genre kind of make attempts at trying to go off and do other maps, and almost always the community seemed to rail them right back down to the standard 3-lane map that everyone's used to. So I think we knew we wanted to do it, but only once we started doing it and we got our first 4 maps together, our first 4 battlegrounds, did we start seeing like this actually adds a lot, and we love it, and what we're hearing from players is that they love it as well. They really like the extra depth. They really like how the gameplay changes. They really like the map objectives that we added, where instead of it just being the same objective on every map, you have really distinct things that you can use to change the tide of battle, battleground to battleground. Everything from Blackheart's Bay, you're collecting doubloons and using them to pay off this evil pirate who then bombards the enemies, to our latest battleground is Garden of Terror, where during the night these plants come out, you gather their seeds, and you take over this giant plant that can siege the enemy lanes and help you push. So I think all these things are, it's about, this was kind of our vision with how we thought we could do this, and now that we're actually in the tech alpha playing with it, I think we're having a lot of success with it and a lot of fun, which is ultimately the point of it all.
Can you share any new details on ranked play? Any ideas how that is going to work for Heroes?
Yeah, we don't have a lot of details on ranked play. We know we want to do it. We're discussing the design for it. I think we'll have more information on that in the future, but just now know it's not in the alpha currently, but we totally intend to add it as soon as we can and start testing it and building upon it from there.
Okay.
Heroes of the Storm will be free to play, but it will have microtransactions, yes?
That's right.
Yeah. What can players buy for the real money in the game? New heroes, some in-game stuff, or what?
Sure. So currently, heroes can be purchased with real money or with gold that you get from just playing the game. We also have skins that you can purchase with real money only right now. And then there are master skins that you actually unlock in the hero progression. So heroes can be leveled from level 1 to level 10. When you get to level 10, you actually unlock the ability to get the master skin with gold. And that's kind of the ultimate physical representation of your hero, and a good way to kind of show off that you've maxed them out and stuff like that. We also have mounts that are for sale for real money. There are bundles available where groups of heroes and skins and mounts, or just heroes, like there's a whole bunch of variety that we're trying out in the alpha right now. So we're trying to provide a lot of different options for players, everything from a one-off hero plus a skin when the hero first launches to a big old bundle of all kinds of content for a really good discount, and just trying to give players a lot of choice in the content they're getting and the various price points, both gold and real money that they can pay.
Staying with the microtransactions, but it's not a pay-to-win model you are aiming for. It's really mostly visual stuff you want to sell, like Team Fortress does with its hats, and correct?
Right. I mean, heroes are something you purchase, which is more like options of what you want to play, who you want to play. Every week right now we have 7 heroes that are in free rotation, and it changes weekly. Beyond that, like I said, you can use gold to purchase heroes or real money. The rest of the stuff for sale is largely cosmetic. Skins, mounts all function the same in terms of their movement speed, so you're not paying for power there. It's more like a customization option on how you want your hero to look. Discussion, topics for conversation when you're waiting for the battle to begin, things like that. So just a lot of fun stuff we're trying to add. It's all about customization and what players want to do to enjoy their heroes to the max.
How do you decide about the prices of all of the skins and the heroes? Because some of them vary greatly how much you have to pay for them, both in gold and in real money. And is there like those who many people want to play, are they more expensive or less expensive? How do you decide?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things we're trying in the tech alpha. So a lot of that is testing both our payment systems and payment prices, like options and things. Typically, what we're looking to do is probably new heroes will cost more gold than they do as they're later in their lifespan. There's also, like I said, bundles available when heroes first come out. As far as skins go, we've decided on the tiering of skins and what kind of content we add. Everything from a very basic geometry change to just the model to very like legendary level skins where you might get unique mounts, you might get totally new sound design, new effects. So there's a whole gamut of things in there. What we're showing currently in the alpha, though, doesn't always represent what the ultimate direction of where those things are going. So I think as we get a little deeper in alpha, we'll start giving players a much clearer idea of here are the tiers and here's how they're priced and here's what you get for those various price points. And we'll talk about that more as we get a little deeper into alpha.
All the time before, Blizzard made perfect real-time strategies and RPG games. But now you Blizzard in general, you start to making free-to-play games like Heroes of the Storm or Hearthstone. maybe, how the idea of Heroes of the Storm was born. Why you decided to mix all these characters from all your universes in one game, and maybe there is some interesting story about it.
Well, I mean, we have this unique opportunity, I think, in the gaming space where Blizzard is more than 20 years old and has this long legacy of all these fantastic IPs, beloved characters across multiple worlds for decades, right? So I think as people working at Blizzard, we all are huge fans of the company, fans of the characters and the worlds, and I mean, Heroes is really an opportunity to collide all those things together. So I think if you took us into rooms and we say, what's the ultimate kind of fantasy of how you would play in the Blizzard world? It's bring it all together, let's do this. So I think that it definitely was kind of the culmination of those desires of hey, why can't we have Diablo characters and StarCraft characters and Warcraft characters, and heck, let's go back to the classic games, Lost Vikings and Blackthorn and all these rich history that we've built on all these characters. And I think it started as a custom map for StarCraft 2 where we were just playing around. We were trying to show what our editor could do. We wanted to show the community. We brought the game to BlizzCon. It got a really good reception, and we said, oh, okay, this is interesting. We brought it back the next year, a little more added to it, got a bigger response to it, and we kind of took it away and saying, you know what, we want to make this game. Our community wants us to make this game. Let's do it. Let's have some fun, and I think the rest is kind of history now, and we really dug in. We have a lot of people working very passionately on it now, and in Tech Alpha, it's getting played every day by thousands of players. We're having a ton of fun, and I'm looking forward to continuing to develop it.
Going back to map design, I have the feeling like most maps offer ways to come back if your team is behind. Is this something which is also tiered, like some maps offer small ways to get back, or is it planned like only one big push you can make, and if you hit it, you can come back, or is it?
Yeah, so with each battleground, I think the idea is we're trying to offer a bunch of strategic options, and it starts with just the core gameplay of you have lanes, you have minions, and minions give XP, you're taking down the towns, which means the towers and the forts, and you're working your way to the enemy core. So there's a world where a team could completely focus on just the standard laning and working their way to the core. Then there's the addition of on every battleground of the map objectives, which offer a big twist on that. It basically are ways to accelerate the progression to the core. Then there's, of course, team fights as well that give discrepancies in experience that teams can get. So what we're trying to do is give a lot of choices of how you want to reach the end of the game, which is ultimately destroy the core. There's not like battleground to battleground. There's not necessarily a way that we're going, well, this one will give a little bit and this one gives a lot. It's much more about the choices you as a team make at any given moment and how that directly relates to your ability to win the game or lose the game. And I think, so far we've been really successful with these 5 battlegrounds of giving varied ways to do that, and ways that I think players are still figuring out the interesting meta that comes from that. Like what are the things they can do at any given moment that turn the tide of battle, and that's the fun for us, is continuing to introduce those things and giving them options. That's what we think is a cool way to do it.
The MOBA genre is kind of infamous for the player toxicity, which is a huge problem for many of the other brands. And right now, I think the worst of it is cut off because the two teams cannot chat with each other. But how are you going to stop that from happening, from kind of infecting the community?
And it's definitely a big concern. It's definitely prevalent in any kind of multiplayer game anyway. We've started with simple things like you can't chat to the opposing team right now. We have the very beginnings of kind of our social systems in place, things like being able to mute or block players on your team or the opposite team. In the last patch, we had the beginnings of kind of a radio communication menu that lets you kind of communicate things non-verbally, like your hero would say lines or would indicate things without you actually doing it. We have a very robust ping system in the game as well that lets you communicate without directly communicating. I think the game itself we're trying to build it around getting rid of some of the pain points in the genre. I think, for example, we got rid of last hitting, which was a strategic choice for us that we just thought it wasn't necessarily like a ton of fun, but it also created a lot of tension in the game. Like there's a weird world where players would get in a game with last hitting and say, cool, I'll kill that guy, and then he does it, and then his teammate goes, what? Why did you do that? That was mine. Don't do that. And you're like, wait, I'm just helping. I'm helping. And there's this feeling of like, we wanted very kind of logical, intuitive things like, okay, if I go and I do this thing that makes sense to me, that will be the good of my team. It will be bettered. This is a positive thing. No one's going to get mad at me because I did that, because it's the right thing to do. It's not like there's not some weird rule that it's a little hard for me to grasp. So I think we're trying to make decisions like that, encouraging team play. Obviously, there's a lot of coordination required of that, but the team's going to live or die based on how they coordinate. So it's kind of a mixed bag there in terms of offering really cool ways to coordinate, but making sure that we're trying to let them actually be nice to each other along the way.
Well, Diablo 3 became console version, yes? Hearthstone is available on PC and on iPad. Is there any possibility that in some time Heroes of the Storm will be not PC-only game?
Definitely. I mean, it's something that we'd explore. Right now, we're focused on the PC development. You know, it's, like I said, it's early in development. We have a long way to go. But like, for example, I play Heroes at home on my couch, on my TV, using a Xbox controller, just off a laptop. And so I like it like that. That's a great way to experience the game. I think the game actually lends itself very well to that. But I think time will tell if we have the opportunity to go that way. For now, let's make a great PC game, which is what Blizzard is really known for. I'm excited by the things that we've done with Diablo and Hearthstone on iPad and on the consoles. But yeah, we'll see what we do in the future.
Seeing the Blizzard Activision logo on the next-gen announcement for OpenGL yesterday from ZigGraph got me thinking, is one of the upcoming titles, including Heroes of the Storm, also planned for Linux?
You know, I'm not aware of active development on that on our team right now. It's definitely something that we talk about, and it's something I think Blizzard as a company will explore, but there's no details or anything I have that I can say definitively right now.
You said you've never opened up a game so early before, but saying it's an early alpha, it looks already very polished and very complete. How much more are you going to add? How much more steps are going to be there before you can even move on to beta?
I think people tend to come in and see the polish and see that, oh, this is really far along or it's done. I think that's really more of an indication of kind of the level of passion that our development team has. I think everybody who works on the game has a really high quality standard, and even in alpha they're very reluctant to put anything out that doesn't really shine, so a lot of love is already going into this game. We have a long way to go though in development. There are core things in the gameplay that we're still trying to establish and refine. The server infrastructure is the biggest thing that we really wanted to do this for, where we want to make sure that we're building a game as a free-to-play game that ultimately as many people as want to come in can come in and play it without having a bad experience or having problems with the network side of things. So there's a lot of kind of stepping stones that we have to reach there of scalability in terms of supporting a larger and larger audience. So there's a ways to go. I think things are going really well. The game is a ton of fun. I think that's the most important gauge for us as developers. And this is a cool experience for us because we're actually getting to go in and play it. I stay up way too late every night playing Heroes of the Storm. I sacrifice way too much sleep to play the game, and I'm having a ton of fun with it. And it just kind of, it's on the right track, right? We have a ways to go, but we're heading there. We're on the way.
This year in April, Blizzard made a funny joke about announcing a fighting game with all funny characters from all universes of Blizzard. Yeah, is this any chance that in future we'll get some characters like Wirt from Diablo? That's Wirt's like Easter egg. You know what I'm talking about? How many Easter eggs and all that funny moments can we find in Heroes of the Storm in the future?
I definitely think because this is this game where it's the collision of all the Blizzard worlds that we're going to have a lot of really cool opportunities for that. Already you're seeing things where when you line up before the battle begins, when you're sitting at the gate waiting for the gate to open, the two heroes or any heroes that are there, they'll have some dialogue back and forth, and I think we're already starting to inject a lot of kind of deeper like in jokes and things that I think people who are really paying attention to the games would pick up on, and in time I'm sure we'll look for lots of opportunities to do that because we love these worlds, we love these characters, and part of the fun of it is that we get to bring them together and you've never seen them together before, so we'll look for fun ways to do that.
Connecting to the opening up earlier question from just a minute ago, is it also driven the decision to do this by the recent success of crowdfunding campaigns where you saw developers go out early with their products and get valuable feedback early in the development cycle?
I'm as a person and as a game developer, I'm excited about all the crowdsourcing stuff that's happening. I don't think that was like a direct inspiration for what we're doing with Heroes. It was more an indication of this is a game that we really wanted to do and do right. We wanted to build it for as large an audience as possible, and we wanted to be able to develop it in a different way than we ever have before, where, like I said, typically we go away for years and we work on it and, you know, hiding it away, toiling away at it, and I think we wanted to change the mentality of our team to be like, you know, it's okay to work a little bit more out in the open, it's okay to get this feedback along the way, and I think it's going to help strengthen us as a development team in terms of being able to react in real time to the desires of this audience as we grow it. And so it was really about just changing the way we think, the way we work, and trying to show people that this is the way we do things at Blizzard, and it's kind of cool to have them be a part of that process.
Ich denke, den Haupteindruck, den wir jetzt bekommen haben, ist, da ist eine Menge am Laufen. Blizzard probiert viel aus, möchte diese Alpha wirklich auch nutzen, um Feedback zu bekommen. Und vor allen Dingen, sie lassen sich auch nicht von dem MOBA-Genre irgendwie eingrenzen, sondern sie machen das Spiel, was sie daraus machen wollen aus ihren Charakteren. Und wir können noch eine Menge Sachen erwarten, die in der nächsten Zeit kommen werden als Testbalance, wo wir uns dann auch ausprobieren können.